Hey guys, Tom here from the Investing with Tom YouTube channel. Welcome back to the channel. If you enjoyed today's video, hit like, hit subscribe, and that way you can see future videos as well. So today's video is all about goal setting. So in 2019, right at the end of the year, you may or may not remember that I made a video on basically reviewing how I got on with my goals for that year. And I also set some new goals for going into 2020, and we're about halfway through the year now. In a few days it will be the end of June and we'll be going into July and the kind of second half of the year. So I thought now is as good a time as any to go in and have a look at how I'm tracking with my goals so far, and have you guys kind of keep me accountable for how I am tracking. So before we get into that, go the Chiefs, and I apologize for the lighting. I'm filming this slightly earlier than usual and it's a little bit dark and gloomy outside, so apologies for that. Hopefully it gets better as the sun comes up throughout this video. But that said, let's get straight into it. So the main goals that I want to talk about in this particular video really relate to personal finance and investing, obviously, and then also actually this YouTube channel were really the two kind of types of goals that I set up and made public on the channel. So that's what we're going to talk about today. My general philosophy with goal setting is I want basically all of my goals to be as in my control as possible. So I really don't set goals that, you know, are reliant on someone else or something else happening. You could argue that some of these goals get a little bit into that territory, but particularly with the YouTube ones, I felt that, you know, if I put in the work up front, I could really reach some of these numbers. So first goal I had for 2020, or still have for 2020, is to put up 80 YouTube videos. So that was going to be a run rate of about 1.5 videos per week. This is going to be, I believe, the 53rd video for 2020. So we're on track to do over 100, and we're on track to well exceed that goal. So that's a really great feeling. YouTube has been incredibly rewarding in terms of interacting with every single one of you. It's grown much faster than I ever would have anticipated, and it's been great to kind of have everyone come along on this journey with me. So I appreciate every single one of you who has supported me so far. But we've got over 50 new YouTube videos on the channel as of this year. I hope they're providing some value, and we're going to try and continue cranking out more than 1.5 per week is basically the plan. See if we can crack that 100 by the end of the year, but the initial goal was 80 and we're well on track for that one. Now, the second goal I had, which was YouTube related, is to make $3,000 in ad revenue for 2020. That was an initial goal I set. When I set it, I was just about to be monetized, or had just been monetized. I'll put up the exact numbers on here, but I think I made something like $80 in ad revenue for all of 2019 because I only got monetized sort of towards the end of December. And my goal was to make $3,000 for the year. I thought that was something that was a little bit of a stretch goal, but was kind of achievable. And I'm extremely happy to say that we've reached that number already. So I'll put the exact number up on the screen here of what we've done for 2020 so far in terms of ad revenue for the channel. Goal was $3,000, where this is all in New Zealand dollars, by the way, if anyone's wondering, and we've exceeded that already. So again, a massive thank you to every single one of you for sticking around on this journey and helping the channel grow. We're now almost at 10,000 subscribers, which is just mind-blowing to me. We've been consistently getting 1,000 or 2,000 views on every upload. So to have 1,000 or 2,000 people watching this video is just insane to think about. I'm literally standing in a room talking to a camera right now. So crazy to think about, but we have ticked that goal off already, which is phenomenal. I don't really have any figures that I want to kind of reset that target to for the rest of the year or anything like that. I think if I can keep cranking out the videos as I have done for the first part of 2020, that side of it should basically take care of itself, as long as I'm providing quality content, which I hope I am, and I hope you're getting some value out of it. So those were the two YouTube related goals I had. The next one was around personal finance and saving money. So the dollar figure is not to be disclosed on this video, but basically I had sort of a stretch target of an amount of money that I want to save right throughout 2020. It worked out to be about 30% more than I saved in 2019, and really it needed to be achieved by really an increase in income, to put it frankly. So I already live pretty frugally and was already doing that throughout 2019. So I didn't really see a huge amount of room to kind of pull the expenses side of the equation down. And I think my saving targets and growth in savings this year is really going to come from other sources of income. So part of it is YouTube, part of it is some of the sponsorships that you've seen on the YouTube channel, so that's a small part of it as well. Other parts of it is coming from my everyday job and simply, you know, kind of moving up the ranks there, I guess, in a way, and trying to funnel all of the extra income that I get straight into savings. So the way I've got my life set up, financially at least, is that I have very few financial responsibilities. I don't have kids, I don't own a home or anything like that, and that allows me to save at a pretty high rate. And it also means that my expenses are pretty consistent. So anytime I have new income coming in over and above what I've been living on in the past, basically 100% of that new money goes to savings. I don't sort of set up rules where I have X percentage for everyday spending, X percentage for savings, so that, you know, if I have an increase in income, only a certain percentage of that goes to savings and that sort of thing. Basically, I am living on the exact same amount of money I lived on when I left university, and I'm now about 3 or 4 years out of university, and I'm still living on that same amount, but my income has gone up, and it means I've been able to crank my savings rate up substantially. So that's kind of where I'm at. As far as how I'm tracking for my goal for the year so far, we're about halfway through the year. In the next couple of days, I expect a little bit more money to come in from some other things. But as it stands right now, I am 49% of the way to my savings goal. So assuming that we continue to get a little bit of growth out of other income sources, I'm pretty happy with how we're tracking with that one. I think we've got a very, very good chance of ticking that one off. And frankly, I'm really grateful for how 2020 has gone for me so far. It's been a very rough year for a lot of people I know, particularly with their jobs and people being unemployed and all that sort of thing. I'm very lucky to have an online income source, which is what you're watching right now, as well as an everyday job and agriculture, which is really an industry that hasn't been impacted too much by what's been going on in the world right now. So I feel very lucky, and also a little bit guilty when I say that I'm still kind of on track for what I want to do in 2020. So if you're someone that has been impacted by what's gone on job-wise, I feel for you, and you know, I hope you can get things back on track. But for me personally, I'm pretty pleased with how things have gone there. I've continued to be disciplined with my savings and everything like that, and it's tracking along really well. Now, the next goal I had for 2020 was to make anywhere from 1 to 2 value investments for the year. So basically, all the things we talk about on the channel all the time that meet my criteria. And the 1 to 2 investment ideas per year sort of philosophy comes from this 20-hole punch card analogy that Warren Buffett talks about all the time. And that basically says that if we have a punch card with 20 holes in it, and each of those holes represent one investment that we make throughout our lifetime, and we can only make 20 of them, then we're going to be very, very strict with the companies that we add to our portfolios each year. And that's kind of the way I think about it. I think if I can make 1 or 2 good decisions every year, that can add up to a lot of good decisions over a lifetime. And it means that it sort of gets me away from a lot of the noise that goes on with stock market investing in terms of fluctuations up or down or whatever in the market, and some of the dramas that are always going on. It really keeps me focused on high quality businesses and buying them at attractive prices. So in terms of what I've actually done this year, I have added 0 new investments to my portfolio. We're 6 months in and I've literally added none, even with the big, downward correction in March. I did add to an existing position, so interpret that as you wish, but I'm yet to add any new investments to my portfolio. So that's kind of where we're sitting, and frankly, it's taken quite a lot of discipline not to make new investments, particularly when I'm standing in front of a camera and filming 2 or 3 videos a week at this point. It might sound kind of unusual that I haven't made any major changes in terms of buying things in my portfolio. So that's where we stand, though. That doesn't mean I haven't been doing a lot of research or anything like that. So I've added several companies to my watch list. I got very, very close to purchasing one earlier in the year, which I'll just come out and say was Corporate Travel Management over on the ASX. I was researching that right around when it was $5. a share after coming down from like $20 or $25 a share. I felt like I hadn't quite got my head around the business. A week went by, and by that stage it had doubled to $10 or $12 a share, which it still kind of sits at today. So you could certainly make the argument that it's still undervalued, but the range of outcomes for that business in terms of their travel customers coming back on board and those sorts of things, the range of outcomes is just too wide for me to feel as comfortable as I would have felt at about $5 a share, which is probably where I would have bought it. So not a recommendation to buy or sell or hold or anything like that, but that's basically what happened. And that's where we stand with investments. So I've added several to the watch list. I'm still sitting and waiting for most of them. I've added a little bit to an existing position, and I'm still yet to tick off my 1 to 2 new investment ideas per year. But if they don't come along, I won't be particularly concerned. If I get 3 or 4 towards the end of the year, I'd be equally happy with that. It's really just a philosophy that I take on board to make sure I don't get too carried away with buying 10 or 20 stocks every single year and having huge portfolio turnover and that sort of thing. Okay, and the final goal that I had set for 2020 is certainly the one that I'm doing the worst in. And I need to be honest about this one. So my final goal that I set for 2020 was to read 15 books. I wanted them to obviously be mainly focused on investing because that's what I'm very interested in, but I'll read other things as well. In 2019, I read 12 books, which for me was a substantial change from previous years where I probably read 0 to 1. So it was a substantial change. I have to be honest, I've only read 4 so far in 2020. So we're not even a third of the way to the 15 in total that I want to get to. So I'm going to have to get my act together on that one. I've got 2 or 3 that I'm reading at the moment, and I've got a really bad habit of when I'm not completely immersed and really into a particular book, I kind of just really slowly chip away at it, and it takes me a long time to get through it. Whereas if I have a book that I'm really into, I'll crank through it in like a week or something, which is extremely fast for me. So I've kind of run into that situation with a couple of books lately, and I've just been taking way too long to get through them, frankly. So that's one I need to sort out. I'm really gonna have to crank up my reading rate for that one just to make sure I get through those 15. Thank you to Luis, who I seem to be giving lots of shout outs lately, but he sent me an audio book of this book called Titan, because in my last 2020 investment books video, I said I need to read it, and I still haven't. So I'm listening to that at the moment, Luis, if you're watching. So that's basically a summary of my goals for the year. A lot of them I'm tracking really well, and I'm happy with how I'm going. Others I need to get my act together in terms of reading. And the investment opportunities one, really I've been doing my research, and I've been continuing to add stocks to my watch list and get together buy prices and understand the business and all that sort of thing. The opportunities are just yet to come along. So that's where I'm at for 2020. I'm very keen to hear where you guys are at for 2020 as well. Let me know how you're tracking with your own personal financial goals. I'd definitely be interested in hearing that. So that's all from me today. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit like, hit subscribe. You can watch some older videos over there. Hit subscribe over there, and go the Chiefs. Cheers.